Okay, so then Salvatore Big Nose Cufari,
Yep.
1930 to 1983. So he had a 53-year run?
He did, yeah. He was an old school, he was loved and feared. Old school mafia don. He was at the Appalachian meeting when they all went there and got arrested. He built up he was so respected that the guys that he made underneath him were all notorious gangsters in the Western Mass, Connecticut area. A lot of murders back then. And he ran it all the way up into 83.
Okay, and did you know him to a certain degree?
Yeah, so my uncle was his driver.
Ha.
So I was a little kid, and my uncle lived across the street from me. We grew up down the south end of Springfield. That's where all the wise guys hung around. I would get out of school. Their headquarters was right there, right in the south end. So Sam had his office, they called it, down the south end. Go there, hang around, and give you $20 to go play the machines, go to the park and play. I would always get a ride home with, his name was Donnie Pepe. He was the driver for Big Nose Sam. And so they always went to the same Italian restaurants. They were friends with my family. My father owned a store, I told you back in our last interview, fruit and produce, vegetable, Italian meats. They always went there shopping, so that I would see them coming in the store and see them at restaurants and see them always hanging around, the presence of all of them. Because there was a huge presence in the Springfield city, the city of Springfield, of organized crime. They did a newspaper article in 2006 saying Springfield, this is in the Boston Herald, we had as many associates and made members per capita than any of the strongholds in the country. And that counts Brooklyn. We know Brooklyn and the Bronx and our, mafia heaven for mobsters. But per capita, we had a big presence in our area.
Okay. And then after Big Nose Sam was Francesco Skyball Scibelli?
Yes.
Okay. So what was his story?
So he's a violent little guy, participated in plenty of murders. A lot of them aren't even public. Like, there's murders that he was involved in. He walked in right into a place one time, blew a guy's head off in a downtown Springfield restaurant. And nobody knows about a lot of the murders that took place with him. Violent little guy. He was like 5'3".
Wow.
Yeah, and
a Joe Pesci kind of character.
Yeah, he was just he had the fear, and he was more feared than Big Nose Sam was. Like, Sam was a fair man. Sam was, if you went to him, he was for the people. He would be fair, and like, not just because you were mafia. He would be fair if there was a decision to make, and people really, they loved the man and they respected him and they feared him. With Skyball, they just feared him. They hated him. And even his mafia guys, knew he was a treacherous devil boss, just a greedy. And so he wasn't loved, but he was definitely feared. He ran, and when I say they had Connecticut, Western Mass, Central Mass. That was all ours. At that time, theirs. And he was so treacherous that they wasn't going to give him the position. They were going to give it to this guy, Mario Fiore. And Mario Fiore was related to the guy Miranda that you were talking about. The guy Antonio Miranda, it was the guy Mike Miranda, who was the big guy with the Genovese family in New York. So Mario Fiore was going to get the spot. He didn't want it. He was kind of like inactive in the 80s. They used to do junkets and gambling, things like that. So he was kind of like inactive, and he didn't want the position. Skyball ended up taking it. And he ruled for quite some time. He was he was there for a while.
Yeah, 83 to 98.
83 to 98. He went in prison for a little bit in between. But yeah, he was there till 98.
Right.
I would say even earlier than 98. They probably say 98. I think he died in 2000, but...
Yeah, they say he retired 98, yeah, he died in 2000, but who knows?
But that's wrong. It was 96-ish. He was 96 that he was... he got actually... So his story, he got taken down. If you keep going out, Bruno, you're going to get to... He was a boss. Mm-hmm. Bruno went to New York beefing on him that, he was getting older. He was forgetting things. He wasn't as top of his game. He was beefing to the bosses in New York. Because overall, the bosses of the Genovese family are in New York. So they have the last say, not with money. We controlled our own rackets. No money went down there until later on, but no money went down there. But it was if someone was going to get murdered, if somebody was beefing on somebody. So in this case, Bruno was beefing on Skyball. Like I was saying, telling him he was losing his fastball. He was, getting like slow, maybe a little dementia. Bruno thought he was going to get his position. They take Skyball down, meaning they demote him. They bump up, instead of Bruno, they bump up his brother, which you're going to get to next, Albert Baba Scibelli. He takes over, and that was in 96. I know it was in 96 because they made a guy, Italian guy, kid came from Italy, and Baba straightened him out, and that was like in 96. And so Baba was the boss at that time.
So how many people do you think Skyball killed?
Oh, there had to be, there was one family, they had to kill this one guy. His name was Flighi Pasquarelli. And it was a beef over something to do with the numbers, and they had to kill this guy, but he was a sharp gangster. You couldn't get at him, and he was always with someone, and they ended up killing him, his girlfriend, and they had a pet dog, a little dog, and the car, and you never seen any of it again. The car, the dog, the girl, and him just disappeared. And that was him and his brother Baba. And Baba was actually very close with this guy, but like close. Like I think he was best man at his wedding. So the story went that when they killed these people and they disappeared, Baba took it really bad. But if you get an order to kill, you have to do it. So they took out this family, and he took it. I heard he didn't come out of his house for like 3 weeks. He was really upset over the murders that they had to, killing them people. But Skyball killed, I would say he's got at least definitely a dozen with him. And then that's not counting, that's counting like giving orders and being, but he was the type that was, even when I was at a meeting with him at Bruno's restaurant when he got taken down and Baba was officially boss. This was again like a 96-ish. Yeah, no, it was like 97-ish, right around there. And I remember him telling Baba and Bruno, he goes, if you need me, he goes, I'm, there. And he went like this with his finger, like, if you still need me for any of this, I'm there. Even though when he got demoted. So he was a violent little guy and wouldn't think, so with him, when he goes to a sit down, he was, he wouldn't think something of picking up an ashtray and smashing over someone's head, putting his hands on you. He was a little devil. But, not only that, he's dangerous with the gun. All those short guys really are dangerous with a gun. They have to be because physically, they're not, how tough can they be when it comes to get that position? They got to be dangerous with the gun.